Don't see Hot Tub Time Machine. Sorry if I sound miserable, but this is what that movie did to me, and again, if I'm in an unpleasant mood, it's because of this movie. I knew it was gonna suck, but oh my gosh, was it awful. Again, I'm gonna have my links to both my reviews of the first film and the second film there, although they are both a work in progress, so you'll have to wait a little bit on both, but yeah. So real quick, I'm just gonna say what I thought of the first and way better film. It was fun. It was one of those movies where it looks really stupid and like an awful comedy, but it's surprisingly funny, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's very clever with the time travel mechanic. It uses it to very nicely satirize the '80s time travel. There's this fun exploration of your youth. And yeah, it was a fun movie, and also Crispin Glover was great in it. This movie is everything that movie could have been. This is that movie. I mean, it's Back to the Future 2 where they're going into the future for something, but whereas that movie, you're at least it's at least engaging. Like this is just really unpleasant to watch. I mean, it does like everything you'd expect a sequel to do. It's recycles rehashes elements of the first one, recycles elements. It's completely sacrifices any sort of heart or sentimentality the first film had. It's not present here. There's no interesting character studies. I mean, it's literally just a bunch of jokes. And that would be fine if they worked, but they aren't clever at all with their jokes. I mean, they're either just referencing other time travel movies, which honestly, all of which I'd watch over this one any day of the week. And all they'll do is they'll just reference the movie. Like, they'll just say, hey, this is just like in The Terminator. And that'll be the joke. I take that back. There's one joke where he's like, oh, I asked the Russians to steal this for me and they hadn't seen Back to the Future, which was kind of fun. But there's no identity. It's just them referencing stuff. And that's not clever. And just the whole film is just them not being clever, just referencing humor. They rely on poop, penis humor, a lot of penis and gross out humor, which I'm not a big fan of. Not because it's not funny, but because it's very revolting. It's disgusting. It's not funny. It's like, oh my gosh, she's pooping, and oh my gosh, there's one really disgusting joke in this film involving sex. If you've seen the movie, you know what it is. It's just unpleasant. I had to look away from the screen at some points. And it's not that crude humor isn't funny, it's that it's not clever. It's a cheap way to get a laugh. Oh, just have him poop. Having someone poop isn't clever. Anyone can write that. I could write that. It's just, you need to have something more. Good humor is something you think of. You come up with it. You don't just have someone poop. Anyone can write that. It's not clever. It's disgusting. And it's again, it's effective. That's why it doesn't work. Because it's watching someone poop will automatically be funny to some people. And that's not clever. That's not thinking of anything. It's the lowest common denominator. When you have to resort to guaranteed laughs like that, that's a sign that you can't think of anything funny. And there were I mean, I knew this film was going to be awful when John Atkinson didn't come back for it. I mean, that's always a sign. Whenever an actor just refuses to come back for a sequel, and they're an actor with credibility, it clearly means they knew this was going to suck and they didn't want anything to do with it. But yeah, that was all. But, if I were to say something good, some of the stuff that they're doing was satirizing the future and technology and stuff, I thought was kind of funny. Again, the problem is that it wasn't worth it because for every good joke they had, it's sort of like the Clone Wars. For every bad episode they have of the Clone Wars, they would always make it up for it with a good one. This is the exact opposite. For every good joke in the film, it's always just buried in they always completely drop the ball because there's always some awful or terrible jokes or scenes in the film. Even stuff like Choosy Doozy, which could be clever, just gets buried under just how revolting and unpleasant it is. Although the cast was enjoyable. I mean, they all seemed to be having fun. I mean, they were all actors I enjoyed, and they were fun to watch. So, I mean, at the very least, like, everyone just seemed like they were having a good time. And Chevy Chase comes back, and he's funny for the one scene that he's in. But overall, this just... I would not recommend watching this movie. It's like a terrible movie. It's a waste of money. I mean, I had to go see it for one of my classes. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, the professor actually had us go see Hot Tub Time Machine 2, which... Nothing against him. I mean, like... Again, we're in February. There are limited options right now. I mean... Although there is Kingsman, but even so, limited options. We're not like in the last bulk of the year where there's so many good films coming out, films that are trying to be good and get the Oscar buzz. And again, to an extent, like, I feel like, you know, to some extent, if you just go in knowing it's going to be bad and just understand that, I guess you just sort of try to accept it for what it is and enjoy some of the, like, the awful humor in here, but... I just didn't like it. I mean, maybe if I had just watched this of my own free will, I might not have hated it as much. But the fact that I literally had to go to the movie theater and sit there and watch this movie was unpleasant. I mean, this might just be one of the worst movie experiences I've had. Like, I mean, yes, it's fun that I have to go to the movies for class, but it's not fun if you have to see a bad movie. I don't go to the movies to see something awful. I go because I want to see something good. And that's the whole point of critics, is they tell you they're good guidelines to help you if you want to go to movies. It's like, is this good? Is it bad? This is worth your time. It's like, and at the end I want to walk out of a film saying that was good. Like, or if something looks bad, don't want to go waste my time in the theater with it. And unfortunately, this was a really bad movie experience. Like, I mean, whereas at least if I watched it on TV, it'd be like, well, I had an hour to kill. Like, when I saw Hangover Part 2, I had just gotten back from a dentist appointment. I had one of my teeth pulled, and I just had to lie on the couch, and there was nothing else on. Whereas this, like the fact that I literally went to the theater to see this, just, oh my gosh, like, again, in case anyone in my class or whatever is watching this, like, nothing against it. I mean, I get it. Like, you have to see something, but this was not it. So, don't go see this movie. If you have to, just see it in theaters. And, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm going to do the trailers I'll just do the trailers real quick. If you want, just stop right here, because now I'm just going to get into the trailers, which all of them were awful, or films I didn't like. First one I got was Part 3 of Insidious 3. I didn't know what it was at first. I mean, someone made the joke that it was a reboot of Rear Window because it was... Yeah. Because it was a girl with a broken leg, but it very quickly is a horror movie. Like, there's a scene where she's texting someone, and when I saw it, I was like... When I saw the scene, I was like, okay, this is a horror movie, and there's this part where she's lying on the bed, and there's this huge open space in the camera. I'm like, let me guess, they're going to put someone in. Something's going to pop out and scare, and sure enough, it was. I mean, I wasn't watching the trailer I wasn't watching the trailer at all. In fact, once I realized it was a horror film, I looked away because I can't do horror, but I just don't do horror. I mean, maybe it'll be fun, but again, I just don't see horror movies. I mean, and if you're wondering how the hell I knew, I shouldn't say hell. How I knew it was going to be Insidious 3, I heard the Tiptoe Through the Tulips. I'm like, oh, it's Insidious 3, and then, like, oh yeah, also I saw the title at the end, but yeah. I also got the trailer for Insurgent. It looks mediocre. I mean, I'm reading the book right now, and it's not really impressing me, though. Although I'm also reading Dance of Dragons, so anything I read after that's going to feel underwhelming. But again, to be fair, the trailer didn't really show much outside the ending, where they possibly gave away a major plot point where it's like, we're not real. But essentially, this just feels like Hunger Games. We're overthrowing a society. Like, all the talk of Revolution's making it seem, it just feels like Mockingjay, except we're doing it sooner. Also got Entourage, looks really generic. Vince Vaughn is in it. Do I need to say anything else? It's Vince Vaughn and a bunch of actors I don't care about. Terminator Genesis, again, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I've gotten this trailer before. I've seen it before, and nothing new, just more of the same stuff. Still looks terrible, although after seeing Hot Tub Time Machine 2, it's starting to look really good, although, but it still looks awful. It's just that's how awful Hot Tub Time Machine 2 was, is that Terminator Genesis looks tolerable. And Ted 2, I mean, it's probably going to be bad, but, the trailer was the trailer satisfied me. Like, it had a couple funny gags in it, but at the same time, it's like with Million Ways to Die in the West, all the good gags were in the trailer, and the trailer was fun, but the movie was just downright unpleasant to watch. So I have no doubt that the film is going to be more or less that. I'm just hoping that at the very least it'll be better than Million Ways to Die in the West, but I doubt it. I mean, celebrity cameos galore. God, we have like Morgan Freeman and James Earl Jones in this movie. Amanda Seyfried is there pointlessly, even though there's no reason she needs to be there. Acting-wise, she contributes nothing to the film. And then there's Mall Cop 2, which looks terrible, but it looks like, not terrible, a pointless sequel, but I haven't seen the first one, though, so I'll be interested to check out the first Mall Cop. And then there were like 2 other trailers they show, because the theater I go to insists on showing like 8 trailers, which amount to like almost 20 to 25 minutes worth of trailers. But I can't remember them for the life of me. One of which was some club movie that involved a club or something. I don't remember the name of it. And yeah, that's my review of the films. They are the trailers. So again, don't waste your time with Hot Tub Time Machine 2. And yeah, enjoy. And also, I'm probably going to be, this weekend I'm going to do my best and worst of 2014, which is going to include, like, me going through all the films I saw, so there's no confusion as to why stuff is on the list, because I haven't seen it, and also my best and worst. So, I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope I was helpful for anyone who's on the fence of whether to see this, like, if I've helped you decide if this seems like it's your kind of movie, or not, but yeah, I would not recommend watching this. Just flat out thumbs down, atrocious film. Go see Kingsman. That looks better. Or just save your money for Chappie, which, I mean, I'll get into that in like a week or two when I do my thoughts going into Chappie, but at the very least, Chappie I doubt it'll be this awful, but again, that's another my thoughts going into video for another day. So, I hope you enjoyed me just sitting here miserably complaining about a movie for 15 minutes. But that's my review, so like, dislike, comment, subscribe. And this is JStar60, and I'll see you guys later. Until next time, take care.